So yesterday we had signed up with Sandbox and Salesforce Professional Edition, right? So we'll continue with that. So this is the username for production and this is the username for Sandbox. If you want to log in into Sandbox, you need to go to test.salesforce.com. So paste and then sign in. Okay. So now we are in the Sandbox. Okay, so now we'll do some developments, however we are doing in the developer edition, right? Similarly, in real time, we do the development in Sandbox. Okay, first development is, okay, I'll create some small developments. I'll do some small developments. So this would be same for entire thing. Okay, so first one is custom object. Even parallelly, we will log in into production or organization also. So for production, you need to log in with a URL called login.salesforce.com, and this is the production URL. I mean production username. Okay, first we will compare. In Sandbox, we should not have any whichever it is not there in production that we will create in Sandbox and we will move it. So first I'll go to production. Okay, this is the production. I'll go to objects and here I'm searching with employee, for example. Okay, I don't have any employee object here. Okay, so what I will do, I will create one employee object in Sandbox. You can create any object. Okay, for example, I'll create employee. Okay, save it. Okay, just consider that this is the first kind of development. Okay, second one, mm, this is production again. I'll go to email templates. Here there are only standard email templates out there. Okay, I'll go to Sandbox. Okay, I'll go to Sandbox. This is the Sandbox. Okay, I'll click on Setup. I'll search for email templates. Okay, I'll create some test email templates here. Okay, so one email template, one object. There are two development activities done. Okay, so similarly, whatever you need, you can do it. Okay, um, while you're doing, you can create workflows, process builder, validation rules. Whatever we have done so far, do everything in Sandbox. Okay, once you have done this one in Sandbox, now we have completed our development. Okay, we need to move it to production. Okay, so in today's session, that's what we are going to discuss, deployment to production activity. Okay, first one. Okay, so if we are going to do this one, the first step, we need to log in into production. Okay, in production, we have something called deployment settings. Okay, in deployment settings, so right now you can see, right? Demo is a production organization, right? Dev is a sandbox organization. Which are the name you kept? Okay. Here it's clearly mentioned demo is a production organization, dev which is a sandbox organization, right? So if you have 3 to 4 sandboxes in production, it will display like this. So this maintains that right now you don't have any connection. This is looks like a broken connection, right? We don't have any connection between sandbox to production. First, we need to create the connection. Okay. So first, go to production and change the deployment settings. Okay, so click on edit. Okay, so production has to take the changes from sandbox, right? So production has to take some components which is coming incoming from the sandbox, right? So it has to allow the incoming components, that is called allow inbound changes. Okay, so this is the second step. Click on edit and select or enable. Okay, enable the checkbox called allow inbound changes. This would be the second step. Okay, the third step is, okay, so this is the thing which we need to create connection. So just click on this deployment settings, back to deployment settings. Now we can see the broken connection is changed into the connection is enabled from it is ready. Okay, from sandbox to production, now we can send the components. Okay, so the next step is login into sandbox. Okay, and search for outbound chain sets. Okay, so login into sandbox, search for outbound chain sets. Okay, so outbound chain sets, okay, which will take all the components which are you're selecting from you. It will take all the components, okay, and it will be loading the components to production. Okay, so click new chain sets. Okay, so here I'll just give one additional information. Okay, so yesterday we were discussing in real time we will get tickets from the client, right? So the tickets would be having some ID number. Suppose say that CR means change request. Okay, change request, like this some numbers will be there in real time. Okay, so this means change request number. Okay, so suppose say that your this is ticket ID. Okay, and ticket description would be like this. Create, hmm, what is that? Create employee object, create object. Okay, and then create profile, and then what else we have created, and email templates. Okay, so this would be the detailed description. I'm just giving in short. Okay, suppose say that this is your ticket description. Okay, so whatever it is there in the ticket description, that development it is completed by us. Okay, so now you came to know that this is the ticket ID. Okay, so in real time for naming convention, okay, we can give this name as a chain set name. Okay, New chain set name would be inside outbound chain sets. The chain set name is, okay, we'll start with this. Okay, it is not like that you can give anything, it will accept. Okay, for naming convention for our identification, we'll give like this. Okay, from where to where we are moving it, from dev to production, right? And this is the first time we are moving it, then we'll keep the version. Okay, in case if anything not deployed properly, okay, again we need to clone this change set, we need to redeploy it. On that time we need to change this version to like this. Okay, so just something called naming convention that I'm following here. I just did this. Okay, here description. So this components, okay, the ticket description whichever it is there here, right? So related to this, okay, so this chain set will move this following components. Okay, so some objects, some profiles, some change. This is just for your understanding. Okay, so other developers, if they are seeing this one, so this user is trying to work with this ticket, and this is the change, right? So save it. Now change set is ready. Okay, now we need to add our components. What are the components that we wanted to move it from sandbox to sale production? Okay, so that components we need to include. Okay, so here change set components section is there. Click on add. Okay, so once you log in into outbound change sets, step 4, click on add and include the required components. Okay, so this would be your step 4. Okay, so now what are the first component? Object, right? So search for custom object. Here it is, right? Component type is custom object. So this is our object which we have created. So add it to change set. Now second component, we have created email templates, right? So email template. Okay, this would be here. Okay, so there is a more button. Click on more and it will show. Add it to change set. Okay, for profiles, you have a separate section. Okay, so add profiles. If you have done any changes in the profile level, okay, you need to include that profile. So let's create one more profile. Okay, so now we'll check with this profile whether it can able to add. Okay, so now you have your test profile here. Okay, so include that test profile. Okay, so whichever the required profile you want to move. So if you want to remove all, remove all. Suppose say that I have done changes with all the profiles, so that's why I'm keeping it here. Okay, so this all profiles I have done some changes, something like I have included tab, or I have included I have done some changes in the layout profile, page layout level, in page layout in a profile level. Suppose I have done some changes in password policies. Okay, so like that I have done changes in all the profiles, right? So I have included our custom profile also, and I have included the new development components also. Okay, so once you've done this, okay, click on upload. Okay, so where you want to upload? So I want to upload in the production organization. So the next step is, once you included all the required components, okay, click on upload button and select the production organization. Okay, this is the fifth step. Step 6, okay, here you can see you will get one notification once you upload. Okay, so your upload is successfully done. Even you will get one email notification, okay, to your registered email ID. Okay, so once you have completed this, okay, again we need to log in into production, or we need to go to production, okay, and search for inbound chain sets. Okay, search for inbound chain sets. This would be your next step. So go to production. This would be your production, right? So here search for inbound chain sets. Here you can find. Okay, so now here this is the chain set. Okay, so that waiting for deployment. Okay, so as you know that this is the name kept in the sandbox, right? So once you get this in the production, okay, first you need to validate, okay, and select on default, click on validate. Okay, so now it's showing deployment started, deployment status you can track. Okay, deployment started means it's validation started. We had clicked on validate, right? We did not click on deploy, we clicked on validate. So validation started. So click on this deployment status page. It's showing validate failed, right? If you click on view details, you will get to know why this validation got failed. There are some components which tries to move. Okay, so here, okay, maximum Salesforce license that we can keep it is 3. Okay, we have already um, 3 Salesforce license in production. Okay, so that is why it is not allowing us to do that. Okay, so I'll just remove one profile. Okay, in real time, don't remove anything like this in production. Okay, this would be a huge escalation. You should never do that in production. But in your production organization, you must be having space. Okay, you must be having more license, so you won't get this issue. Okay, in case if you get this issue, you need to communicate with your managers or leads, like we are getting this kind of issue. Okay, they will be bringing up with some solutions. Based on the solution, you need to proceed further. Okay, so now we got some error, it's not successfully validated. Okay, so again we need to go to um, deployment settings. Okay, again go to this. If you click this one, right, it will take to this page. Okay, again click on validate. We'll see whether it can validate successfully or not. Okay, this time it got succeeded, right? Without any issues, it got succeeded. Okay, so click on this link. Okay, so now it's showing the recent history is validate succeeded, and then you can click on deploy. Okay, so your next step is, okay, click on change set. Okay, then validate and deploy. Okay, once you do this, go to deployment status. Okay, so it will show that successfully deployed. Okay, now we can search with one by one whether the changes is reflected in production or not. This is production, right? First, we'll go to profiles. Okay, so here you can see test profile is deployed, right? Similarly, we can go to objects, search for employee object. Okay, so employee object is deployed to production, right? And the next one is search for email templates. So the email template is reflected here. Okay, so like this, whichever the topics that we have covered so far, if you want to practice, you can practice and you can create some limited components here in professional edition. Okay, and try to move that changes to this you can use it only for deployment concept. Okay, so don't do any developments here because you will not get features like a developer edition. You will have all the features, right? Professional edition, you will be having limited features. Even for example, you won't be having any development activities can be done here. Okay, so this would be your last step. So once you deploy this, your step 8 is verify all the changes are reflecting in production. Okay, this would be your eighth step. Okay, so this is all about deployment to production, and like this in real time, right? You need to follow that entire thing. So you need to deploy from developer sandbox to, I mean, dev sandbox to SIT, okay, and SI to UAT and UAT to production. Okay, so that's all about today's session.